Talking about pedagogy a little bit, if you had a very beginning guitar student, what would you do for like the very first lesson? You know, when they first walked in.
Depends on how old they are.
Let's say like teenager or something like
A
that.
teenager. Junior high or high school?
Probably high school.
Okay. If they're in high school, I would treat them more like an adult. If they're in junior high or younger, kind of, I don't know. I guess treating them like an adult would mean being able to talk about how to tune the guitar, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
I think a younger child is not going to just not going to have the patience.
Yeah.
I've seen it. You know, I mean, it's just you have to kind of. They're taught to do it, but I think if somebody just came into my door as a beginner, high school age, I would talk about how classical guitar is different, the style is different from what other styles. I would ask him for sure if he's played any other styles.
Yeah.
That's very important. I kind of like it when they come from another style and cross over.
Yeah.
Because I can relate to what they've done in the past, and it's much easier. But we'll talk about how the style is different from the other styles, how the nylon string is different. One thing that beginners always have trouble with is especially if they come from a different style of electric or steel string, they find it very uncomfortable that the strings give under their fingers. And so I kind of let them know that that's a good thing, and you want to feel the strings move and roll around under your fingers a little bit. So I talk about the feel, I talk about sitting position, and they have to know how to tune their guitar. They can have a tuner, but they have to be able to hear. I want to start exercising their ears right away, and you know, I've seen people come into a college level school of some sort, junior college or university, not being able to tune their guitar, cannot hear high from low.
Yeah.
And it's simply because I'm not really necessarily blaming them. I think the teacher should have addressed that from the start, and it's just a matter of ear training.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get those things out of the way and start talking about them.
Cool. Can you talk a little bit about your recent hand injury and if you're recovered completely from that, or?
The hand injury, just to clarify, it was a pinched nerve in my neck, which I don't feel in my neck at all. It's a bulging disc. And of course that nerve, that specific nerve, radiates down my arm into these two fingers here, I and M. So I have numbness here, and especially here. I can't feel a thing here. But I can move my fingers just as I used to. But the numbness has been a problem. There was a lot of pain for a few months that went with this. And but it is getting better. All the specialists I went to see, you know, chiropractors and neurosurgeons, etc. They said, first of all, surgery was out, because this kind of thing, it was just basically, it's just a bulging disc that's pressing against the spinal column. So with therapy, that can be dealt with. They ruled out surgery because, being a guitar player, any little thing that went wrong could just, you know, I'd never play again, maybe.
Yeah.
So that's completely out of the question, surgery. But the pain went away after about 3 months. So it started in November of last year. They all said it would take at least a year to really start mending. I learned a lot about nerves, more than I ever really wanted to know about nerves and how nerves work.
Yeah.
And inflammation and all that stuff. So one thing it has made me do is look at the way I hold the guitar, because when I was recovering, I couldn't really play comfortably. I couldn't really touch a guitar. I couldn't touch anything here on the inside of my arm. It was just too painful.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't play for more than 5 minutes. Um, when that went away, I had to kind of think about how I would sit, because pressure here now affects how the fingers move. So too much pressure here over a prolonged period, like say over the course of a concert, will make my fingers twitch and cramp up a little bit, which is part of the whole injury. So I've been experimenting with holding it on my right leg, flamenco style, just so I can let my arm hang and play like that instead of the usual, left leg here.
Mm-hmm.
So I keep. I'm experimenting. It's actually kind of fun. I haven't really tried to reinvent myself like this since I was a freshman in college, So I'm looking at it on the positive side. It's kind of fun to experiment. I'm really glad the pain's gone. I never want that to happen again. That was horrible. Just 24/7 pain.
Yeah.
But it is getting better. I would just advise people to just watch their backs and watch the way they sit. When you're younger, you don't notice things as much. You just kind of stretch and pop a few things and you're back into place.
Mm-hmm.
But over time, that will take its toll. And so you have to think of your body, I guess, in terms of very similar to the way an athlete would look at it. You have to think long term. And how long will this last? We're holding our bodies in really compromised positions for a long time. And so we have to find ways to relax into that and just watch our bodies. Don't carry anything on your neck like I did for 20-some years.
Yeah.
I'm sure all of that, mainly the traveling, probably just popped the disc. And so, yeah, it's getting better. And I'm confident it'll just completely go away at some point, but it could take a while.
Yeah. Did you have to switch instruments or anything like that? Or what guitars are you playing now?
I did, actually. While I was recovering, I started playing my Kenny Hill. Kenny Hill is a builder here in California, and he makes what he calls a stand-up model. So it's meant so where you can stand up with it. It's got a little button here for the strap and then one on the end.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's thinner on the top and thicker on the bottom, so it tapers from the bottom to the top. And I found that the thinner top of a guitar was much more comfortable for me to adjust my right arm to, as opposed to a regular guitar with regular thickness. So I played that for several months, just steadily, and I love it. It's a fun guitar to play. I alternate between that and my my Tony Mueller guitar. It's a German guitar, and cedar top. This one here,
Mm-hmm.
and I love them both. They both work well in the quartet. I played them both for solo concerts, and recorded a bit with both of them, and I'm happy.